This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of their affiliated organizations.
Welcome back, everybody, to Ready to Connect. I'm Lisa.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we are so grateful to have Heather back with us. And we're going to delve into remote viewing a little bit more because of the three of us, she is our remote viewer. So she has a little more insight to add to that topic. But before we begin, I'd love to know what you've been up to, Heather.
Oh, took an amazing trip up into Maine and back down into New Hampshire, down the Kangamangas. Was feeling pretty crappy for a couple of days, but good old mountain air moved it out. It was great. It was wonderful. We missed the foliage. Well, there's more foliage in Connecticut right now than there's in New Hampshire.
Oh, even down the Kangamangas?
Yeah.
Oh, that's supposed to be like a beautiful drive during
There's
foliage
barely
time.
a trickle in the riverbeds. You can see they're in a severe drought, and all the trees, like, it's just bare.
Wah, wah.
Wow.
Yeah, you get up there and you're like expecting all this color and like because you came from Connecticut because it's nice and colorful, and you're like, wow, it was bare. It was very bare. The trees had dropped all their leaves.
That's a bummer.
Lack of drought.
But you were
Lack of
off the
rain.
grid because I couldn't get a hold of you by phone
Totally
for sure.
off the grid, which is so amazing because like as a business owner, I think we all like are tied to our phones. Like if it rings,
Pretty
we need
much,
to answer
yeah.
it. If it bings, we're answering it. And then you get up into the mountains and like there's no bings, there's no ringing, there's no signal, and you can't even touching your phone is just pointless because you're going to get frustrated because you have to like lick your finger and touch a metal wire somewhere to get a signal. But then you realize like 2 days in, like, this is amazing. This is like the old days where if you didn't get me, oh well,
Right.
leave a message.
Right.
Of course, every time you go back into town, your phone was like blowing up, bing, boom, you're making all this noise, and you needed a vacation just from all that. But there's something to be said about going off grid, not being able to use your phone, so you just succumb to it, and like you really do decompress a lot faster. At least we found.
Yeah, I find that when I say to myself, okay, I'm going to put my phone over here, I'm not going to look at it, I'm going to take the day away from electronics, it never happens because you can.
Right.
But if you truly can't, it's almost like a relief.
Yeah, it
like
was
I
almost
can
like-
do that now.
I
It's a
don't have to
detox.
answer his phone. Lisa's got it, or it'll go to voicemail and I'll get it when I get back. Like
Right,
you
right.
succumb to the whole fact, well, I'm just going to take pictures with this thing, like
know-
a camera, and
Yeah.
And for me, and maybe for you, I'm only going to speak for me because I am the older one of the group. I remember back
Yes,
in the
Mom.
day where you did not have the phone with you constantly.
Yes.
You had
Yeah.
if you were lucky, an answering machine at the house that would click in when someone called. I know some of these young
Yes.
interns are looking at me like, what is that? and
rotary phone.
a rotary phone, that kind of thing.
I used to think those were fun.
Yeah, they are.
And so we were
Now
not
they give you a
connected.
finger cramp. You're like,
We're not connected now. We were not
Right.
connected then, and we were, I think, a happier childhood for it. You
Yeah.
know, and I think there was probably a lot of less stress over it.
yep.
I could think of it. But
Yep.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I think about my childhood and maybe your childhood. I know your childhood was like mine. We didn't go inside till it was dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when the street lamps came on,
Yep.
that's when we went home. We were
Yes.
outside
or when
playing,
mom
or-
stood out on the porch and yelled
Oh,
your
yeah.
name, then you came home.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like they're just such, and like we always joke in like our friend circle, like I'm glad I did all my stupid shit before somebody could record it and put it on Facebook. And like,
Yeah.
these kids are all subjected now to like your employer's watching your Facebook, your employer's watching
Oh, absolutely.
Instagram. And I'm so glad when I was a teenager, we didn't have any of that, right? I mean, I'm sure you
I was practically perfect in
Oh,
every
okay,
way
no
as a
comments.
teenager.
Okay.
There was nothing that I needed to hide. I don't know about you, but I mean, I was,
practically perfect. in
practically
every way.
anyway. Yeah. But it's very true. I mean, being off grid, there's something to say for it. I'm so glad you were able to do that and just
I
take
think
some of that
everybody
stress
should do
away.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though we were in a glamping cabin, it was still in the middle of the woods, and there's something to be said.
What our listeners can't see is the little air quotes
The
she's
air
making
quotes,
around
yeah.
glamping.
So it was a glamping cabin. It was a little cabin, but it had a shower, hot water, stove, refrigerator. You brought your own amenities, and you brought your own blow-up mattress or whatever. But it's still nice. You don't have to get up in the middle of the night and walk down the campground to go to the bathroom. Yeah,
That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
Nobody wants to walk in the rain down to the campground, public bathroom. But there's something to be said about being in the middle of the woods as well. The silence. It's almost like snow, where it's like that deafening silence that's just so peaceful within your body. And you
Is it
hear,
really silent though? Because don't you hear all the sounds of the animals?
Sure, but that's a
Like a
natural
sound.
Right.
circadian
Yeah.
rhythm that is your body like absorbs, and like the stillness is, I don't know, it brings a certain muscle structure, like you just decompress. It's really cool how like snow will do the same thing. It's deafening, and when you're in the middle of the woods, even though you have all the natural noises, you just like, it's an instant decompression. It's instantly, of course, your body's still wound up for the first couple of days because you're so used to go 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 go, and then you're like, oh, I don't have to get up then.
I know some people that come from the city, New York City or whatever city, and they have a very difficult time sleeping and staying at my house because there's no city noises.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Quiet.
They like the city noise and they need that to sleep. And
That's
I guess,
interesting.
yeah, it is kind of interesting. You wonder how they would do out in the woods, you
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
Probably take an extra day to decompress.
yeah.
But it was really lovely.
Yeah,
We did some really great, things. We hiked a mountain and found some waterfalls that were still trickling, and
Oh, wow.
just beautiful. The old man in the mountain's no longer there, but you can see where he used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was a great birthday. So
Well, awesome. Yay. How about you, Ryan? What have you been up to?
Just been busy with Artist Haven Media, but aside from that, yeah, with all good news.
yay.
But aside from that, I got a random phone call from my father a couple weeks ago, and he asked. First I thought he was calling, needing my help taking photos of something that he's trying to sell, but then instead he was like, "Oh, so you want to go up in a hot air balloon?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was not expecting that.
We had just finished talking
We had just finished
about
talking
my
that.
hot air balloon ride
Yeah.
in Africa, and then
That
immediately I
same
get this
day.
text. I think I'm going in a hot air balloon. I'm like, do it.
Do it.
And so it was a company that does it. Now, I guess they do it in different states throughout.
Sure.
But so there are some companies here in Connecticut that do it, but he wanted to go to one in Vermont. So we went all the way up to Essex Junction, so towards the Canadian border. And yeah, it was quite an adventure, even just driving
Was there
up
foliage up in
And-
Vermont?
Yes. Yeah,
Wow.
there was.
It's amazing how you have Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire all kind of connected together. And
Yeah.
New Hampshire was bare.
Wow.
But you're saying Vermont had.
We were at the tail end of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least we got to see it. And I went into this thinking, oh, okay, it's going to be like a balloon. I didn't really know. I was like, is it going to be tethered? Did we go up and then come back down? No, we were just traveling like for over an hour. And,
crazy, right?
It was incredible. And
Is it very smooth, right?
yes,
it's
very
so smooth.
Yes, now that I've done it, I can say I highly recommend traveling in a hot air balloon because you don't even feel it when you're floating.
No.
Didn't feel it coming down, and while you're traveling, you don't even realize that you're.
How
you're
was your
floating.
landing?
Um,
Ours was pretty soft. It didn't bump. Like sometimes I hear it can bump.
It did bounce a little, only because the pilot was trying to get us into a field. Well, we were in the field. However, there was a slight hill, and so we just kind of bounced on that.
Yeah.
But it was just incredible, just being up there and yeah, it is quite an experience of a lifetime.
Was it something your dad had always wanted to do?
Yes, he said on the way up there, he told me that he had been wanting to do this for over 40 years. And that he finally had an opportunity now, and he heard that I was interested in hot air balloons, so that's why he asked if I wanted to go with him.
It's kind of like
So,
being in the kayak when you're in the water looking at the shore. It's a totally different perspective than being on shore looking at the water.
yes.
So when you're up in the air looking down, the perspective it's puts you in awe because you're no
Yes.
longer the little ant on the ground looking at the foliage. You're looking at it from this bigger.
Right.
It's almost humbling, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so quiet up there too. Like you were talking about the quietness of nature. Like
Yeah.
even just being up there, it was incredible. And then it was also funny because we saw, parents driving cars and they would stop and the parents and their kids would come out and wave to us and some kids would be, riding their bikes following us. And it was just, it was kind of funny seeing that, but interesting too.
Childlike innocence.
Exactly. Yeah. So quite an adventure. If anyone has an opportunity to do that, I highly recommend it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
how about you?
Oh, well, I had a fabulous weekend. Went out to Los Angeles to
Oh, wow.
go to a family wedding. My nephew, Tim, married his partner of 9 years, Adam, and it was an amazing wedding, long time coming. It hit all the heartstrings, made us cry. I just love these two men. They are just wonderful people, and the love that was shared in that room. I'm gonna get all verklempt, but it was just a wonderful wedding. And what was really good is to be able to see family members that we're kind of spread out through the country now. With my sister lives in Texas, and two of her children, obviously her son Tim, lives in California, but also her daughter Laura and her family lives in California.
Oh, wow.
And then her oldest daughter Jennifer lives in Maine. So I see Jennifer maybe a little bit more than I might see Laura or Tim. And then, we're from Connecticut. We come in. I mean, we had people all over. The one who officiated the wedding, I think, came in from England for them.
Wow.
It was just
That's cool.
It was just a wonderful celebration over Friday night, and then Saturday was the wedding, and it was just a lot of fun. All my children were able to come and be there. It's really interesting to travel on a plane as the mom with all your children that are grown now, because now you don't have to worry about passing them food or are they settled. You just kind of like, got nothing to do, but kind of thing. So it was a really, really wonderful weekend, and maybe I could put some pictures up. You should put some pictures up of the balloon ride
Sure.
that you took, and maybe
Yeah,
what
I have
you
some
have.
nice pictures.
We could put that up maybe on our social media, just a little bit of a window into our world. But it was
absolutely.
just a really wonderful weekend. And then I do have one major celebration to brag about. My grandson Cole can now roll over.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Woohoo!
Does he growl when he's rolling over too?
Well, yeah, they do their grunting, that they do.
I mean, did you put the lion there so
Oh,
he
no,
could roll
no.
over and growl?
No, I got him to growl when he sees a lion, but
So
which
cute.
it's adorable. But he can roll over, and so another milestone reached for the young lad. And I'm just, please as punch, proud grandma kind of thing to watch the child roll over. And actually he takes after his dad in that lately all he wants to do is look out the window at the bird feeder. There's a bird feeder attached to the window. He just likes to watch the birds come and go like the cats do. And his
Guess
dad
he needs to meet Ryan.
Yeah.
his dad is an avid lover of the birds and actually just in general nature. I mean, he's a little bit like me in that he feeds the squirrels and all the critters that come around, and so there's many bird feeders around their yard, and he has the Bird Buddy camera as well.
Oh, good.
As you do, but Cole is taking after him. I must sit, I don't know, a good, if you piece together all the times, good 45 minutes of my time babysitting, holding him up like this so he can look out the window.
Oh, wow.
Or sitting him on the windowsill and we just watch the birds and the squirrels come and go. And he just loves it. And if I take him down, he makes motions to try and climb up to do it himself. Obviously,
Wow.
he can't because he's only 4.5 months old, but
Yeah.
he starts to move his body that way, and you can tell that that's what he wants. And but yeah, he can roll over, and he's a bird watcher. There you go. So, yeah. So, talk about watching. Why don't we move into our topic of the day, which is to continue about remote viewing. So we have some questions that came in to about remote viewing. So since we have Heather with us, we're going to direct those questions to you, if you don't mind, being the one who's done the remote viewing. We've already laid down the groundwork last week and what
Right.
it is and what it isn't, as well as, sort of how it's done a bit, but we have some more questions. So are you
Sure.
ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Take it away, Ryan. What's our first question?
Slightly putting you on the spot here, Heather. But,
That's okay.
okay, so the first question that we have is what is the most interesting target you have viewed? If you can share anything about that.
So I read a lot of the CE5 books with Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer, his CE5 program, which connects to orbs and unidentified flying objects and whatnot. It's a really cool
wow.
program.
Yeah.
It's a great meditation you can do. Living on a lake and kind of living a little bit in the woods, we have some, it's quiet airspace, so to speak. So I love to take longitude and latitudes and connect and see if we can find unidentified flying objects, whether it's ours or another life form. So yeah, I've used the CE5 program to use remote viewing to see if we can come in contact, because it's only a matter of time, right? That
True.
eventually somebody's going to appear and we're all going to see it and we're all going to have, what was that radio program? War of the Worlds, where everybody thought the aliens were actually coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It'll actually happen. So I've used remote viewing in several different ways. But for...
Most interesting target, it's a UFO.
Yeah, the most interesting target is definitely UFO, like trying to look up instead of just trying to gather your surroundings. And when you have a longitude and latitude that you can tap into, it pin marks something where you can hone in and see if you can capture all the identifying features of what you're trying to look at, whether it's on lower ground, middle ground, or up in the sky.
So to be clear, though, that remote viewing of pinpointing a UFO was just in general your own interest. You weren't requested to do that.
No, I was not requested to do that. That's just something fun I like to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe we're alone.
Yeah, I don't either. But I mean,
and like if you can, and we've seen things. My friends, my peer groups, we have seen things that you can't identify. And I'll have to load up a picture that was taken a couple weeks ago on the backside of Fort Adams in Newport, Rhode Island. We were looking over the horizon, and there was a shape in the horizon that didn't make sense. It looked like a saucer. And as soon as I went to get my phone to take this picture, it was gone. And then we were sitting there, and it was just, so on the backside of the fort, you can see the Newport Bridge to the right of you, and then the whole bay to the left of you. And we continued to sit there and enjoy the time. And all of a sudden, it was these two streaks coming through the atmosphere, and I actually got a picture of that. And whether I can say it's aliens, I can't, but it's definitely unidentifiable. So it was cool to be able to tap in, remote view it, see if I could actually capture anything, but it was moving so fast that like even my senses couldn't pick it up. Does that make sense?
Wow.
So yeah, it's really cool, but that's something I do for fun. As far as remote viewing professionally, yes, I have done that, where I'm given a longitude and a latitude, and you connect into that longitude and latitude. So it's kind of like you go into a meditative state. You try to bring your heartbeat down, get it as slow as possible, as quiet as possible, get your body as comfortable as possible, and you tap into the coordinates. And then you begin to look left, right, forward, backwards to gather all your surroundings. And usually to find a specific person or an object to be found. I have used this in helping different police departments to locate missing people. So a lot of times you're given a place of point where they think they are. And so you take those longitude and latitude numbers, and you begin looking all the way around 360 picture. And then you try to, as a psychic, I tried to connect with that person if it's a missing person. And then from there, the remote viewing connects claircognitively, using all your clairs, actually, voyance, auditory, cognizance, whatever you can capture, you tap into the person that is missing, and you begin remote viewing their images that they're trying to project in wherever fear-based, or if they're not scared, whatever they're looking at. It's quite fascinating because sometimes the imagery that you're getting from this remote viewing session is their visions and not so much from the actual longitude and latitude of what's all the way around them. So it's important to have your longitude and latitude so you can foresee all the area and see if you can connect to that person and maybe some of their visions that they're shooting back at you when you connect through psychic work, psychic mediumship, and you try to match those up to get a location. And a lot of time what we'll do is we'll have a big map in front of us, and we'll pull out pendulums, we pull out all kinds of different tools so that we have everything gridded out. And that way, when you remote view the area and then you also remote view with the person that's missing, as long as they're still alive, you can start matching up things pinpointed on a map. And you start gridding it out. Okay, is it in E5, whatever, section 6 of this map? Yes or no? And you start gridding it out, and it narrows down a baseline of where you can look for somebody, whether it's an animal, a person, a lost item. We actually located a car once.
Oh, wow.
The car wasn't actually missing, but then when we located the car, it was actually missing. So, like, you can do this not only for people, but you can do this for things and places as well. Dowsing rods can be used as another, besides a pendulum. Like, you can actually go to the longitude and latitude pinpoint if it's local, and you can use those dowsing rods to steer you in directions that you may be able to make contact with the missing person as well.
Wow.
So it's a really great practice, but you have to slow your breathing. You need to get into, because all the different states of like relaxation, beta, delta, you want to get into like that verge of where you're in between delta and REM. So you have to be almost asleep, but you're not asleep. You're still in that almost like a hypnagogia phase where you're kind of slipped out, but you're still conscientious, if that makes sense. And you have to be so still, because any little noise, you'll obviously wake up and like come out of that meditative state and lose the connection.
Right.
So you sit in a very quiet room, like this room would be perfect because it's soundproof. And you can be still, slow. You have to slow your heart rate down because you need to be able to quiet yourself so that you can start floating around and looking in all north, south, east, and west.
So I have a question then, just in relating to psychic work I do, getting myself into that meditative state to be able to connect, but also being cognizant enough to be able to deliver a message. So when you're talking, you're in the hypnagogia state, how do you record what you're actually experiencing? Because in the hypnagogia state, for me, I don't know that I would be cognizant enough to actually record anything. So how do you do that?
So
That's
over
a good
the
question.
years, I've trained myself to kind of sit with a pad and go into that meditative state.
So like
and
an automatic writing type
it's
thing?
almost like an automatic writing type
very
of style
cool, very
that
cool.
happens. I also not only keep a pad and pen with me, but I also record the whole session.
So you
So
might
I-
be talking through that whole thing?
Right.
Oh.
So like when I get the coordinates, I can close my eyes and start viewing, and I start listing what I'm seeing.
It's like dream speaking.
Like dream speak almost. Absolutely. Because you
Or I call dream speaking, but when sleep talking. I guess some people do. I call it dream
Yeah.
speaking.
well, when you're in between delta and REM, you
Yeah.
can still be awake.
Yeah,
just
you are.
You got to be just really still and really quiet and really comfortable in your own skin to just be able to be that quiet. And that takes a lot of practice. Like, you're not going to just sit down and be like, okay, longitude, latitude, da da da. Like, it takes a lot of practice to quiet your body that long and not think about the dishes, the cats, the litter box, I gotta go do
Well, yeah.
this and this and this, right?
When I think back to, like, last week we were talking about the CIA program and how of training remote viewers. And it is, they talk about it takes however long it takes for that training because different people progress at different speeds. And for some, really learning how to do that could take a while.
And when you're in a room with other remote viewers, because we're all educated differently, because we all walk different paths of lives, because we all perceive differently, all sorts of stuff happens like that. And it's just like being psychic. You know, I perceive one way, Lisa perceives another way, you perceive another way, right, Ryan? And so we're going to talk it out differently. So when you're in a room with remote viewers, you'll keep earphones on so you can't hear them. And a lot of times, a lot of people will blacken out, you know, wear like a little eye mask. So that way you can just stay hyper focused in that state that you need to be in. And it's amazing how I might be viewing longitude, latitude, whatever number, and I can see the satellite right over that pinpoint, but the other person sitting across from you is getting the mountainside. And so like you remote view, everybody remote views differently because of how they perceive imagery. And it's really cool because not only can you remote view on land, you can remote view the universe, the whole sky.
Wow.
Because every star has a longitude, latitude. Every planet has
true.
a longitude, latitude.
Yeah.
The sacred geometry of the earth has longitude, latitude. So when you can tap into that energy, the picture will form, not just through clairvoyance. So it's a matter of training yourself to sit still and really look to the left, look to the right, look forward, look backwards, and really taking notes of what you're seeing. And that's usually how you get to the pinpoint of like that person might be there.
Right.
That animal might be there. That object might be there.
Wow.
I think there are very few people that are naturally remote viewers. I think it does take quite a bit of practice and training.
Yeah.
I remember one of our students at a psychic circle seemed to have a little bit of that natural ability in connecting to an object, was able to, she described it as being in a bedroom, and I just asked her to look around, and she was able to remote view the whole bedroom.
Wow.
But that was without any kind of training. I don't think that happens often. I think, as Heather was saying, it takes a lot of practice to get there.
It does, because most of us are so go, 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 go all the time that we don't know how to sit and be quiet.
Right.
Even when we are sitting and being quiet, we're probably staring at the TV, like zoning out at the TV or reading a book, or our mind is still going.
Right.
And that is so hard in this society where we don't listen to our bodies anymore and our heads are just on this little hamster wheel all the time. So you really have to take a lot of practice to be able to sit on the floor or in a chair, not fall asleep.
That's the trick right there.
There you go.
Not fall asleep.
Because we're so go, 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 we're tired too.
Exactly. You're
yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to view this. And, you know, you're out like a light. It takes a lot of practice as a human, especially in America, that, or in other countries too, that are go, go, go. To just sit there and be quiet is kind of out of our vocabulary. So it takes a lot of practice, especially to get yourself out of beta and into a delta state. That's really slowing your heartbeat down and really being quiet. And again, there's no room to think about like the dishes, you know, I have to vacuum, I have to mow the lawn. You have to empty everything out. And in past, just a little off topic, I got to sit with Buddhist monks for a year of my life, and they meditate in that fashion. This is how it started for me.
Okay.
Learning to really quiet myself down. I had other techniques given prior in life, but like watching them be able to sit on the floor and cross their legs and fold their hands and go into a trance. I actually witnessed one Buddhist monk able to empty his thoughts and his emotions and everything out, that he actually floated.
Wow.
And it's an incredible experience, because you're like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
And then they teach you, and it's really kind of it's really cool. The minute you feel yourself lift off the ground, you immediately come back to consciousness and you fall back on the floor. Like, it's
Wow.
really cool. Like,
That's cool.
all this ties into like just meditation,
Yeah.
transcendental, and all those other forms.
What are the questions we have?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Side shoot.
Well, honestly, you answered a couple of them just with that, so thank you for that. For instance, like what the process is, so you answered that. What are common challenges that you face? Are there any?
When you remote view.
So one of the newest lessons for me was was asked to partake in finding a missing person and connected in, remote viewed, had specific buildings, had specific landscape. It was obviously, you know, identified that I was locating certain things. As a psychic medium, I could hear 2 heartbeats. The person that was missing was pregnant.
Oh.
And I continued to listen to those heartbeats, and I continued to try to connect in through remote viewing to see her visions. And we had visions line right up, and the scenario started lining up. But what happened was, I thought she went to sleep because I could still hear the 2 heartbeats. I thought this person went to sleep, but it ended up being that she had passed. She was tragically murdered. And so I didn't separate the fact that I was hearing spirit heartbeats versus live heartbeats.
Oh,
And that was a new lesson for me. So there is a distinct difference
So
Wow.
in your clairaudient ears.
your skill as a remote viewer blurred into your skill as a psychic medium.
It did.
And it was hard for you to separate the two.
It did. And I don't normally have that issue, but in this case, it occurred.
Well, you want the best, particularly if they were, a pregnant
With a
woman.
pregnancy, right? You want
Yeah.
you lean on your faith and hope a little hard because you just want to make sure you bring these people home for their families. But
Right.
unfortunately, it was a hard lesson. Like, now that I've had the lesson, I can separate that. It was so subtle too. Like, live heartbeats have that actual like deep drum beat, and deceased heartbeats were very faint and very quiet, and I mistook it as they were sleeping, because when you go to sleep, your heart rate slows, right? It goes a certain cycle, and when you're awake, you have a certain cycle of heartbeats. So now I understand the sound is different in my psychic ears as a clairaudient. The heartbeat sounds different, and if you sit long enough, I can now separate the feeling of live heartbeat versus deceased heartbeat, because I was given that lesson through all this investigation.
Wow.
I still felt like I let people down, but like, you do your best. You do your best to kind of connect into it.
I think that's something we went over to last week, is that not all remote viewing, it's not 100% all the time.
Successful.
And I
yeah.
think
Right.
I think we somewhere read that remote viewers shoot to be, what was it, 60 or 80%
sounds
correct,
familiar.
something like that.
Yeah.
They shoot to be like, obviously more than 0.5%, more
Right.
than 50%
Yeah,
correct. But
in my training, you were expected to hit 48% of your target.
Okay.
So there was standards of like, if you can't at least capture 50% or 48% of the imagery, then they're not gonna use you for any remote viewing, because
yeah,
it's hard to separate.
so it must have been the 60%.
Yeah.
The
that
guy
sounds
was
about
saying
right.
he shoots to be 60% correct
yeah,
Yeah.
in whatever he's picking up in the little details, and then putting those details together,
right.
for that
Right.
bigger picture.
And sometimes it's the smallest detail.
Yeah.
You might get one little purple flower sitting in the horizon, and you're like, whoa, okay. And it's hardly anything that you can go off of. It would be like a blue light in the middle of a field. You have to like pinpoint all that. And sometimes it's so big and expansive, you're like, it's hitting you in the face. But it can go all over the board. And you have to pay attention to the littlest details. Like, are there keys on the table? Is there a lock on the door? Are the windows covered? Like, you might see bars on the window when you're remote viewing. So now you're looking for a building that's older that has bars. And a lot of our cities have bars on the window.
Right.
I know where I live in Coventry, Connecticut, I can't think of any buildings with bars on them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, do we even have a jail? I don't even think we have a. Well,
we
obviously
do,
in the
yeah,
police, yeah,
right. But they don't even have bars on their windows. Like,
Yeah.
they have a specifically designed jail. Like,
Yeah.
so you're looking at, is there a picture on the wall? Even if you can glimpse what that picture looks like on the wall, that's an indicator, because a lot of people decorate either personally of like what their interests are, or they decorate like the landscapes they love.
Oh, that's true.
and usually
Yeah.
coordinates with where you're from, where you've come from, how you were raised, and what your taste in art may be. But that says a lot about a person as well. Art. So you're looking at every little detail. Is there a fork on the kitchen table? Is there a coffee mug with coffee still steaming in it? Are you looking for a pot on the stove that might be still steaming, which gives you an indicator that they're still moving about in the home?
Right.
Like all these little things. Is there carpet on the floor? Is there stairs? Is it creaky? Is it loud? Like you're really honing into this location and looking at every little detail. And to practice that, you create trays and you put all different objects on the trays. You cover it and you walk away from it, or you have someone else create a tray, and then you come back and you look at the tray for a few seconds, and then afterwards you try to write down everything that's on that tray. And that's part of a clairvoyance activity. But that really strengthens, if you want to become a remote viewer, to be able to train yourself to look at the most minute details, right down to like what patterns on the plates, if you see a plate on the table, or it's really quite interesting. And as a psychic, we add in clairgustance and the taste and the smell, clairgustance and clairalience, just to see if we can capture a smell in the room.
Right.
Because maybe they're in a smoky building, or they're in a mold-filled, infested kind of space. You can smell that, like a basement smell. Like you're really turning on all your sensories to log into like this longitude and latitude. It's really cool.
Wow.
Like just in this room, right? We have Chris that has a green hat on. You have a plaid shirt. We have, you have a pumpkin necklace on. It looks like you have new glasses on. I don't think I've seen those glasses on you,
they're
Lisa.
new. Yeah.
They're beautiful. And like you look at all these little details, like even just right down to like where the foam got ripped off the wall. Because that could be an indicator. Where are they putting foam on the wall?
Right.
Oh, wait a second. Maybe this is a media studio because I see speakers and I see foam. Like then you start narrowing down you start narrowing down that grid pattern to maybe locating.
Wow.
What other questions
That's
we got?
incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just answering a bunch of them as we're talking here, which
Yeah.
that's fine.
That's great.
Okay, we talked about documenting, talked about challenges. Okay, is there a time when your remote viewing has helped someone?
Yes. Yes, I've been.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes.
I have been very privileged to have this gift and to be taught the remote viewing and to use it for good. And yes, I have been blessed to work with police departments, and I've been blessed to work with private investigators where we have successfully located and brought animals and people home.
Wow.
And that just blows up your heart space. Like it's
Right.
so great. So when you do have the one where you didn't bring them home alive, you kind of take that personally as a human, because your empathy kind of blows out. Like that's a human, So, oh yeah. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I can do that kind of work.
Right.
So,
That's amazing.
Oh,
That's amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's always good when we can help people out. you know?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's remote viewing or the work we do, the healing,
absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, we do have a couple more. I feel like you may have touched upon this, but how do you differentiate between your own thoughts and what you are viewing?
So I think it's a lot like psychic senses. You listen to the speak. If it's you talking, you're having a full conversation with yourself, and it's a lot of I, and a lot of you should do this, and come on, Heather, you can do that. Like it's a lot of your own self pep talking. When it's external, you're hyper focused. It's like when you drive, you have to look left and right, and you have to pay attention to the stop signs and the signals, and you're just naturally doing that. So in a remote viewing session, you take your ego out of it. All things considered, right? Like all things considered, this is not about me. and you listen to and you look and so you take yourself out of it. So when you start talking in the sense of like, oh, I should go do that, I should do this, oh, I see this at the, you take your eye out of it. You got to be like an investigator, like you take your personal sense out of it. So that way,
That's a good way of saying
when
it,
you
yeah.
listen to your tape, your recording, or you try to read your scribbles, if you were able to scribble anything down, you know that didn't come from anything personal. You stayed objective.
I think it's very similar to just even when you connect psychically. How do you keep your own thoughts out of, I mean, as a claircognizant, how do you keep a separation between what's spiritually given and what's just your own thoughts or your own imagination?
Yeah.
And it's just a
That's
matter
true.
of being able to kind of like know that if I'm having a claircognizant moment, it's coming right away and it's just there, and you don't have to ruminate on it.
In a remote viewing case, you have to keep your objective out of this. Like, you can't
True.
have an opinion. You can't say, oh, well, I think, because you don't know. You're viewing something from the outside, either from someone else's perspective or from the geographical location. So you can't interject your own personal affliction or happiness about what you're looking at. You have to stay like an investigator, very focused. Okay, I'm walking into this like I'm a police officer, even though I'm not. I need to be an investigator here. What do I
Right.
see? So you keep your ego out of that. And you don't put any of your surmisings into that because it's not yours.
Right, right.
So I think that's how you, and as soon as you start catching yourself saying, well, I think, well, then you know you're interjecting your own stuff.
That's
Because
true.
I'm not supposed to think. I just need to view and write it all down so we can capture where we need to grid.
Right.
Yeah. It's a lot like psychic work, though. As soon as I start talking personally, I know I've clicked out of that
Yeah.
psychic mediumship piece where I've now need to add my own personal story into it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that during remote viewing because it's not about us, unless we're reviewing ourselves, which is a great way to practice. Sit in the middle of your room, take note of what your room looks like, then
Yep.
close your eyes and try to pinpoint all the little things in your room, including right down to pictures, what's on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, the number on the air conditioner, if it was running, stuff like that. So you won't necessarily interject your own personal opinions.
And then leading to our last question here, you touched upon different ways that someone can learn this, but yeah, what skills can they develop to improve this?
Like, do you
remote
have to be a
viewing, or-
clairvoyant in order to remote
Yeah.
view?
No.
Okay, that's good to know.
I think a lot of people just assume you need that skill in order to remote view.
Right, right.
Well, I think the whole speak that you guys were talking about last week was, you're getting trained to look at a position, right? You're getting trained non-psychically, but we all have psychic senses. So you are going to eventually develop your psychic sense and trust that psychic sense to add into that remote viewing. Yeah. So what was the question again? Sorry.
How can you improve these skills, or what can you do?
Practice. Sit in your own house and then try to nail down even the divot in the wall, and then like look around, close your eyes, and then try to map out your whole room that you're sitting in, and then have someone move something in your own space, and then you go outside, sit down, connect in a session, and see if you can see where they changed something in your space.
Oh,
Because now you're connecting into that room, so you know that orange petal hypothetically is on that floor. But what if Chris was to move that petal, and now you're remote viewing and you see it over here to the left? You'll pay attention to stuff like that, and that's a great way to train yourself.
I think also if you have a location that you know well, like if I wanted to practice remote viewing, I could maybe remote view Heather's, living space kind of thing, and take a look around, and then she can, maybe text me, I added something new. What do you see now? You could do things like that, I would imagine, would be something that you could do.
Or if you know someone's going on a hike, you can say, hey, text me when you get to a stop point. And, you can get your longitude and latitudes right on your phone. You just download a compass on your phone, and you can have them call you with the longitude and latitude numbers, go into a meditative state. Again, don't fall asleep.
right.
And see with those longitude and latitudes if you can start looking left at 360 degrees and go all the way around and start writing down whatever impressions you're getting. It's a great way to practice.
What about
then
if,
you can confirm with the person that gave you the coordinates.
what about
That's
if I
true.
was to do that connection without the longitude and latitude? That be considered remote viewing? Let's say you go on a hike and you say, okay, I'm sitting where I need to sit, and if I was to just connect into you and try to look through or experience through your energy, could that be considered remote viewing?
It is 50-50.
Yeah, okay.
I think on that, in
It's
that
more my psychic
scenario,
end.
that would be more
More
of a
psychic
psychic
thing.
sense
Okay.
of clairvoyance, clairauditory. Of course, you're eliciting all 5 of your senses because you want to
Yeah.
smell wherever I am. You want to see if you're tasting something. Maybe I'm in a restaurant eating something really yummy.
One can only hope if I'm remote viewing it.
You know, eating a nice gluten-free donut, that would be great. Whatever that one's borderline. Like some of that
Okay.
does
All right.
require
That's
you to tap in
interesting.
clairvoyantly or clairauditory. But yeah, you could practice this anywhere, and you can practice it with people, or you could just pull up coordinates on your own, like Google Earth it.
Oh, there you go.
Right? If you want to see the, whatever, Machu Picchu, you could go anywhere with this. As long as you have the longitude and latitude, you could tap into that and then work all the way around what you're getting, perceiving, and then Google Earth it. It'll bring you right in to the whole area where you can actually see all the little things that you're looking for spatially.
That's true. It kind of reminds me of taking virtual field trips.
Yeah, there you go. With your VR or IR, what are those called? VR glasses? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
lot like remote viewing.
Yeah.
Except now you're interjecting like the smell of the grass wherever you are. Or if you see someone over at a table, are they drinking coffee or tea or soda? Like you really tap into all those little finite things. Even right down to like, does this person have bad breath? Because if you're looking for a missing person, you want to try to capture like their breath, because if it's fruity, they might have diabetes, which means they need a insulin. If they have copper in their mouth, you might have some other form of dis-ease in the body. So you're really paying attention to all the little details, right down to like, is their face feel smooth, or is there jagged like scabbing from getting hit, depending on the case.
Wow.
So you really hone in.
Right. Wow. Well, those are all the questions that we have.
Yeah, so thank you for I think it really helps our listeners to hear from someone who has been doing remote viewing. I think it adds a lot of value to the topic that we've been discussing. So
If you
we
have
really
a
do
fur
appreciate
baby,
that.
like lay in bed and try to see what your dog's doing in the other room.
Oh,
if
there you
you
go.
have children, try to see what they're up to, like if they're out and about or if they're down in their bedrooms. Like that's another way to practice. Or if you're up in your room, try to view your kitchen with whoever's in it and what they're doing, and without asking.
Right.
Like there's all little things you can train yourself to just kind of tap in and see if you can see every little detail.
Yeah.
And not just from memory. It's like actual live time, like touching. Yeah, like VR.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, thank you
as
for
we
that.
end all of our episodes, we have our affirmations in hand. So, again, the affirmations, if it resonates with you as a listener, take it to be something that you need to hear. What do you have, Ryan?
This is interesting. I am an unlimited being accepting from an unlimited source in an unlimited way.
Yes.
Okay. No limits to you.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right.
I have you can never quit, winners never quit, and quitters never win.
Okay.
Okay.
That's right.
Yep,
We haven't quit yet.
Not yet.
Gonna
Still
keep going.
absolutely. Always move forward.
Remember to give thanks for everything, and you will be returned many blessings. I do give thanks for everything.
Yeah, that's great.
Very grateful.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ready to Connect, and we will connect with you next week.
Yay.
Thank you for tuning in to Ready to Connect. If you're interested in exclusive behind-the-scenes content, be sure to like, share, and follow us on social media by searching for Ready to Connect Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And for those looking to further support our podcast, consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/readytoconnectpodcast. And until next time, get ready to connect.